Seoul City, now as it is Kaesong, that was the capital of Korea during the Goryeo dynasty, so close by, but now in North Korea. Separated, the DMZ is right here. This is Gangwon Island, right up against the DMZ border with North Korea. The north part of the island faces directly into North Korea today. And Gangwon-do, it's right at the end where the Imjin River comes in, joins the Han River at the end of the Han River down here, and the Imjin River, they come together. And this Gangwon Island, a big, heavy island, just barely offshore. It's a big part of Korean history. When the Mongols invaded Korea, from Kaesong City in the north, that was the capital of Korea, the royal family, the whole royal court, went to Gangwon Island and stayed there for 37 years, avoiding the Mongols. Way back in the 1200s, that's where they created the Tripitaka Koreana woodblocks, that great treasure. Right there on Gangwon-do Island, Gangwon Island. Now, this was fortified by the Joseon dynasty. They had military on there, fortresses with even cannons and battlements, because it was the entrance to the Han River, and the Han River goes to Seoul, the capital, Hanyang at that time. So they had military there to protect that. They also had royal archives and such. This is where, yes, the Americans attacked in 1871. Why did they do that? Mr. Sunshine does not really say anything. There's one little line, which I'll show you here, which is what they're saying, but actually there's an entire history. America did not attack Korea just for any random nothing reason. Okay. Now, American Navy said they showed this scene here, and then the guy who's later the friend of Eugene and such, so the Americans attacking Korea, the big bloody scenes at the beginning. They show them cannons blasting away and killing many Korean soldiers. It was true, the Americans had a victory here without too much difficulty. Now this messenger riding into Seoul City with his torch saying, at the coastal waters of Gangwon, 5 American battleships were spotted. And then, this is with King Kojong in the palace. This would have been Gyeongbok Palace by that time, which reopened in 1866. This is 5 years later. The young King Kojong, and that's his father, the angry-looking Daewon-gun, standing there to advise his son what to do and such. And he said the court report, the messenger guy, the minister got the word from the messenger. He says, then they accused us of burning down a foreign ship. Burning a foreign ship. They accused us. The Americans accused us. So the reason why they're attacking is because we burned an American ship. They're not even saying that exactly, but that's what he's communicating to the king. The king may or may not have had much idea what he's even talking about. And in Pyongyang, back in 1866, so 5 years before that they had burned an American ship in Pyongyang, now the capital of North Korea, which is on the Daedong River, a river that also connects the sea. They wanted to establish diplomatic ties with us. The Americans wanted relationship, ambassador exchange. And Korea only had relationship with China. Japan was a hated enemy. That was it. No foreign relationships at all for 250 years. The Americans wanted this, and of course Koreans were saying no. And the people are no different than barbarians. They said this about Americans. Oh my God. Reasonably true, but not something we're ashamed of. The British always said that about us too. But that's what we did. Now, okay, this goes back to the year 1866, a really important year in Korean history. 4 different major things happened in 1866 that just make it a very memorable year. It was just after the American Civil War. Now, you know this, Abraham Lincoln, the Civil War, 1860 to 65, and it just finished at 1866. Lincoln was dead. America was not any kind of superpower. We didn't even barely had like San Francisco and Los Angeles going on the West Coast, and that was pretty much it. where almost all of America was in the east part of the USA, still at that time. Okay. Gyeongbok Palace was rebuilt in 1866. The Daewon-gun did that. Father of the king. Father of King Kojong. He's the one put together the money to rebuild Gyeongbok Palace in a magnificent style. Not the same way it was in 1392, but much better, bigger architecture. Of course, they had advanced very much in 400 years in architecture and engineering techniques, a much better palace. The problem was that money was supposed to go for the Korean military, especially in building a navy for Joseon. More progressive-minded government officials, those officials who I said, these younger ones already interested in modern, had put together some good fund of government money. They wanted to build a more modern military. That would have been a good idea, as we've already said, but the Daewon-gun, at least we blame him, according to records, according to what we know, he diverted that money, he took that money and used it to rebuild Gyeongbok Palace, which is a very beautiful palace, and it was magnificent, but it would have been much better if Joseon had spent that money on a military. Then they wouldn't have had the problem with Japan so much. But again, that was him and his anti-modernization. At least that's what we think happened. Gyeongbok Palace being rebuilt. Okay, then Korean Christianity.